Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Today is an episode with a guest who I'll be bringing on in just a couple moments. It's yet another student who's using the proven Amazon course strategies that you hear us talk about so much around here. And he's built an incredible business. Actually, just a few days ago, he had his first ever $10,000 sales day. And he said it was at a profit margin, I think he said 35%. Something like that. Really nice net profit margin day. So he's very excited about that. Now, that's not typical, of course. He's running at about $30,000 average per month sales right now, but it's enough for him to have gone full time. He left his job, as he'll explain, and this is how he provides for his family now. Interestingly enough, he's got 4 boys and a girl, just like I do. His girl is his oldest. My girl is my youngest. But other than that, an unusual mix, but we had that in common. We spent a little bit of time talking about family dynamics today, how we've kind of integrated the family into the business, the benefits of that, as well as how he finds all this profitable inventory. He's got a virtual assistant now working for him who finds REPLENS for him, profitable Amazon products. Every day he wakes up to more of them. This particular virtual assistant who's working just for him has found 200 profitable ASINs or profitable listings in the first 2 months that they've been working for him. It's someone who was trained through our proven REPLENS VA program. We'll stick a link to that in the show notes. We've had a couple hundred people now purchase one of these virtual assistants to help them in their business. So we do the heavy lifting. We find and train, we vet, make sure that they're really good at finding profitable products. And then we turn them over to a single seller, in this case, today's guest. And he has been benefiting very much. He said the investment paid off very quickly. So look into that. If you want someone to help you find profitable products every day, we've got a great resource for you in the provenreplensva.com program. So my guest today's name is Justin Van Slooten. And I think you're going to really enjoy getting to know him. Very plain spoken, not a big, flashy, unreachable type of success story. I know sometimes people say, wow, I can just never see myself having $100,000 a month Amazon business. It seems so unreachable. Well, it's just another guy who's followed the steps, $1,000 a day business, provides for his family, very flexible lifestyle, and they're enjoying the benefits of the fruits of their labor. Again, working right alongside his wife and kids every day. Having left the career about the time COVID started is when he left his last real job. And you're going to enjoy diving into today's story. So let's get Justin on the line right now. So Justin, welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Appreciate this opportunity.
I consider it a big opportunity for myself as well and for the listeners today. So let's jump into your story, buddy. What do you say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, we've been doing the Amazon thing for, I think it's been almost 6 years. And it's funny you have me on because I feel like I'm just a regular Joe. I'm not anybody special or anything, but things have just grown every year. They've just little by little, steady over time have just grown. And 2 years ago, we were able to leave I was able to leave my regular full-time job and go into this full-time. And I've never looked back, and it just keeps, even then it just continues to grow and grow. And little nuggets of new things I learn. And it just, so it's been a real blessing along the way.
What did you do before you started your e-commerce career?
Well, I've done all kinds of things. We actually lived my wife's Japanese. We actually lived in Japan for many years, almost 14 years. And it was time to come back to the States. And when we came back, I really didn't have any jobs or anything lined up, but I knew that I wanted to have a little job, my own little business that I could use to incorporate my family and spend more time with them and things. So once we moved back, I had to kind of take whatever I could get. And so I worked for a publishing company, basically selling ads and things, which was a blessing to have that paid the bills and things, but it was definitely not what I wanted to do for the long run. But I was able to work it out with them that they would let me take Fridays off. I was doing Amazon on Saturdays, but I needed a little more time. And so I worked it out with them that I could just work there 32 hours a week and take Fridays off. So Fridays and Saturdays, I was doing Amazon stuff, and it just continued to grow and grow. And then when COVID hit, this particular magazine I was working on, all the sales, and I was getting paid by commission. All the sales just dove, and I could have stayed on there and made a lot less money, or made the jump. And it just seemed like it was the time. And instantly I started making more money. I was already, my 1 or 2 days on Amazon was almost equaling everything I was doing on my full-time job. So
right.
it was just a great time to transition.
So 2 years after leaping full time from the having a real job, no regrets, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. No.
Beautiful. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family. Your wife's from Japan. Do you speak Japanese as well? You were there 14 years.
I get by all right in Japanese, but I'm probably one of those guys that we made fun of when we were kids. Those poor foreigners who come here, they can't speak very well. That was me in Japan, but the Japanese are so gracious. They were nice to me, but I got by all right. I had to learn a certain level in order to communicate with, I taught English, and I had little English classes of my own, and I had to be able to converse with the parents and things like this, and of course get around and stuff. But a lot of it I had to rely on my poor wife, if there was anything serious with bills or buying houses or doing all kinds of things. So I was not at that level.
Sure. It's a pretty intense language.
Yeah, it is.
As far as in contrast, it's not one of the Latin languages for sure. I spent, we spent 100+ days in Guatemala adopting our now 15, coming up on 16-year-old daughter, and when she was an infant. So it's been a while. But we were in country for a long time, and I learned just enough to be hilarious to everybody that I spoke to, but I could communicate. So they would talk to me while laughing at me. But I figured I got my way around. So yeah, that's great.
It's fun. People are usually gracious if you're trying to use their language. They're pretty nice.
Of course, they appreciate the effort. Yeah. So, all right, this is a 6-year journey for you. Let's maybe talk about some of the early days. What were you doing on Amazon 6 years ago? And I would guess books and scanning barcodes and just kind of finding what you could find, right?
Yep. It was basically books when I first started out. Yep. I had my eyes open. I was looking for things to do. I was looking for things that would allow me to come home and spend time with my family. And I got a book from somebody selling books on Amazon, and I started that, and he had some really good system and stuff. And I was going around all these library sales and different things. And then Amazon really changed their, the payouts on the books, because probably they were getting so many books that they just, they wanted to lessen that. So you'd send in better books than all the stuff that people were sending in. So, but I knew there was other people though, with my little bit that I had done on Amazon, I had seen that other people were doing well selling other things, but I didn't know what Keepa was. I didn't know any of these other tools that were out there and stuff. And so I went to a conference, and I tried this other e-commerce business, just selling stuff through Shopify and things like this. And I spent like $1,000. I think I sold one fingerling monkey or something.
Oh no.
On that. But the good thing that came out of that was I met another family at that conference that was doing stuff on Amazon. And I just felt like there was something there. And so I asked them, I said, hey, would you guys be willing to, I didn't know them very well, but I kind of stumbled into all kinds of things. I just asked people stuff, and I apologize later usually, because I think we kind of all have to just kind of learn just to stick our necks out a little bit, but people are usually very gracious and stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know of any financially successful people who have built a business. I'm not talking about the trust fund babies, spending daddy's millions. I'm talking about people who have built a business, who aren't just the most genuine, helpful, thoughtful, caring people. And if they truly know that you're going to take their advice seriously, they'll give it to you.
Yeah. And that's what happened. I asked this family, this couple, say, hey, would you guys be willing to just kind of help me with what you guys do on Amazon, what you do? And they walked me through the basics. And they lived in another state, but we got online and they showed me some stuff. And pretty soon I was like, wow, okay, I've got the techniques and stuff. And then they said, also, you should go to check out all the silent sales stuff. And so I went over there and I got got all the classes and everything. And
so they directed you into this community.
They did. Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Well,
Yep.
thank you, mystery family. Appreciate it. That's our marketing right there. Our marketing
Yeah.
budget is $0 as of today.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing something soon. I think spending some money on ads. We've been told we're crazy that we don't, but that's our
Okay.
most powerful marketing right there is people that know, like, and trust us telling other good people
Well,
about
yeah. The content is just so great, and you guys are always adding new things, and that's why I like being a part of this community, because I don't know what the next thing's going to happen. I don't know what the next difficulties are. I don't know what the next opportunities are, but somebody knows at least part of those things, and they all come to this kind of town square, as it were. And so we can all go, oh, okay, there's the next thing to look out for. There's the next opportunity to take advantage of and stuff. So
it.
that's been huge.
As I'm hearing you say that, Justin, I'm thinking we've kind of crowdsourced our research and development. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
spread the risk across a large group.
Yeah.
First guy who stubs his toe in the dark tells the rest of us, like, hey, look out. There's a
Right.
brick wall in the dark over here. And we just kind of do this thing together, and you get enough people doing that, and it's a pretty special arrangement. Yeah, that's a good observation. I like that.
Yeah, so that's been really helpful. But just hooking up with that family and then getting the classes and things really just allowed me to begin to do things in a much wiser way than I was doing them before. And then just spending a lot of time trying not to waste any time. We have 5 children, and so if I wasn't working, I was spending time with them. And just thankfully, little by little, it grew. And then my daughter was a real big help. She's our oldest child. When I was sourcing on Fridays and Saturdays, when I still had my regular job, she was busy processing and packaging and shipping it out for me.
That's awesome. How old is she now?
Now she's 20. She just got married about 3 months ago.
Oh, good for her. Does she keep those entrepreneurial instincts kind of going in her life, life path?
Yeah, she does. She wants to try some different things. And I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, like, her husband works really hard and they're doing stuff. And I just think, like, well, I wonder if they, as when you're young, you can do all kinds of stuff. But then when, you start getting children, you get busy and stuff, you need a lot more money and a lot less time. So, I'm just thinking about in the future, I'd love to find a way to incorporate them or give them a part of the business or I don't know. I'm always thinking in those terms. But in addition to my daughter, my sons help a lot too. They do a lot now that she's moved out of the house. It was real sweet after she got married. She said, "Hey, Dad, can I come help you this summer and work for you this summer?" So I was really blessed that she wanted to do that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Out here they are starting their own life, and they still want to be a part of what the family's kind of built together. That's a lot of the benefit of doing life under one roof. Mm-hmm. With your kids around. And did I see in your bio you guys homeschooled? Is that right?
We do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Even in Japan, we did, yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. So did we, with 5 kids as well. And it sounds like similar age range, potentially. I mean, my oldest is 24, youngest is 15.
Our youngest is 8.
Yeah, so we're a little ahead of you. But just having done, that's all they've ever known is Dad does his e-commerce business from home. And we've always had an office or a warehouse or something, but I'm typically not there. I'm typically home and working on the business, and they're a part of it to whatever degree that they have the freedom to be or interest in being. Yeah. So it's paid huge dividends though for us. We've seen the results of doing life and business and family kind of all together, mixing it all in together. And you turn it all off at night and, do family things, but during the day, it's kind of this big mixed bag of business meets life meets whatever the challenges of the day are.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you learn and you become, I don't know, I become a better person because you can't just, if it's an employee you're not going to spend very much time with, you can kind of blow them off or not talk to them or whatever. But here you kind of are forced to, maintain relationships, and it makes you a better person, I think, to do that. It's always fun sometimes, but I think in the long run, it really starts to congeal and things work together, and it's just I don't know, it's just a big blessing.
Yeah, it is. You hit on a topic that we could very easily go down that road further at some point. I don't think we will now, but just that normal everyday friction that families have. You add a business in, there's going to be some other challenges and frictions and things, right? But learning to navigate that the strength and the bond of those relationships that result from having served others well together, there's no stronger bond. We look at these corporate team building exercises like, hey, let's go out and climb on a rope and catch each other in trust falls. It's like, okay, you can build some team that way, but you really want to get that team close. Have them serve others well together. And the higher the stakes, the better. Right? Like some of the closest relationships are people that like would operate and save the life of a dying patient, for example. And they just form these bonds, like we actually save someone's life. Well, in business, like this is how we eat. This is what we do as a family to pay the bills around here. And we're all a part of making that happen. The stakes are fairly high. And that creates a bond that it's hard to replicate other ways.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a blessing. We had I actually had my biggest sales week last week that I've ever had. And that was there was an opportunity that I saw, but it was going to take a little bit of coordination with my family. And I was talking to my wife, said, hey, sweetie, there's a really good thing coming up, but I'm going to have to go away for 2 days. And when I come back, can you have everything ready so that I can just drop it in a box and we can get it out the door? And between her and my daughter, they had it all prepped and ready. And then it just worked like clockwork. We put it in the boxes, put it right back in the van, and took it to the UPS and shipped it all out. And I couldn't do it without them. So, and I try not to overwhelm my family because you could do that, but I try to be reasonable with the things. But I think they enjoy being a part of it and doing it and knowing that they're contributing to the family economy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The lessons that are built in there and the perspective that your kids will have on this one day will crack you up. You're doing what it takes to pay the bills and run a successful business. From their perspective, this the way they describe these scenarios. There's no damage being done there, buddy. There's only positives. I can just totally assure you. Even if they would rather have been at the swimming pool or rather have been doing something fun, instead they're serving others through business and seeing the results of that work. I think that's why we see such high character people come off the farm, because with a farm, by very nature, we're getting up early, we're working hard, doing underappreciated work sometimes, and the end result doesn't come till harvest time, kind of, delayed gratification, all those natural built-in lessons. When you have a business in your house, it's kind of a little version of that, just the built-in lessons of character and honesty and integrity and delayed gratifications and planting seeds for the future. Man, your kids are going to benefit in huge ways. I'm sure they already have. I know mine certainly have.
Yeah, it's been a blessing to see them to work in the business and stuff. Even the little ones are carrying boxes and things. And so it's neat, to have everybody pitch in.
Yep. There's something anyone can do. Starting with one of the things we always encourage, like the young was like, what can my 2-year-old possibly do? Well, to the degree that they're able to focus and pay attention for any length of time at all, tell them we need a pretty picture drawn on this stack of paper with these markers for each of these boxes, because these are going to people who are going to open the boxes and they would love to see a pretty drawing from you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the earliest. We've never been able to come up with something easy. Maybe stickers, we need a sticker on each box, have an awesome day sticker on each of these boxes or whatever, so they can contribute. And they know they're doing it for other people, not for their own benefit, but for others. And that's a great lesson to learn. But I'm curious about this best day you just had. Tell us a story on that. And we can start to get back into business and numbers a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. So there was an opportunity that came up. It's a replenishable item I've sold in the past. And it's interesting, the longer you do this, the more in tune you become with products and sales cycles and things. And there was a certain product that I sell fairly often, but there's a certain time of the year, this time of the year, where it just goes gangbusters. And also some of the stores that we shop at put them on sale. And I knew from past experience, like, wow, the iron is hot. It's time to strike.
Get them as many as you can right now, right?
Right, yeah. And so thankfully, we're nimble enough. That's one of the nice things too about being totally self-employed, is now we're nimble enough we can take advantage of those. Whereas in the past, it was just you kind of see it sailing by. And but anyway, we were able to jump on that, and we had like 4,000 and 5,000 days, and we had a $10,000 day, which I've never had before. And those are all within a week's time. So it was just incredible. That was really, really huge for us. So And every year it
a
keeps going up.
$10,000 sales day.
Yeah.
First time it's happened for you in 6 years. That's something we're celebrating for sure, man. Well done.
Yeah, it was huge. It was great.
Yeah. Wait, what was your net margin on that?
100% ROI on each product we sold. So I'd say, I think it was like $3,500 a day in profit.
That's
Pretty good.
tremendous.
If I could do that every day, I'd be a millionaire. So,
well, with it in a year, that's $1 million. Yeah.
in a year, that's $1 million. Yeah. So, not quite at that level. I can't maintain that level yet, but
Yeah.
maybe so.
That's awesome, dude. That's a beautiful day. Yeah.
Yeah, that was big for us.
What is your, give us, and we're kind of jumping forward a little bit. We can go back and fill in some gaps certainly later, but what are the average months looking like right now? Like what's your rolling 30 most month after month right now?
We've averaged, if you look at it over a year, we've averaged just over 30,000. So that's, and that was my goal, is to, I think in the past it was like trying to make 25,000 a month. And then I thought, well, let's try to make average sales of 1,100 a day, which is a little over 30,000 a month.
Right.
And I've had months below that. It's like, oh man, but then I've had months that totally make up for all of that.
Yeah. And Q4 tends to get a little bump too, I would imagine. Everybody's shopping more. So we're coming up on that.
Q4 has done better, but this month is like a Q4 is just crazy. So
yeah, this month it's here we are in the middle of summer. For those who don't know, we're recording in July. Coming up on our live event in August 12th through 14th in the summer of 2022. Chance for me to promo that, theprovenconference.com. But we're about halfway through the year, and it sounds like you're putting together, this is going to be your best year ever, it sounds like.
Yeah, so far we're on track to, we've been beating all the past months. I think it was 1 month where we were below last year, but all the other months are above.
That's awesome. Well done, man. So let's talk through your routine, how you find this profitable inventory, talk through your system. And I think you even had a few questions about it. So we can kind of do a little mini coaching session, brainstorming here if you'd like as well about your system. But talk us through what you're doing. How do you find your inventory now? It's not scanning books at Goodwill anymore. I know that.
No. Yeah. So now I go to a lot of stores, a lot of regular stores. And so Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go out shopping. And I've discovered that you can one day of shopping can give you a whole other day of work. And then it seems like you need at least 1 day of like bookkeeping and just other things you've got to catch up on. So 2 days is about all I can handle. It seems like I fudge on that. I'll sneak out and buy some stuff because there's a few opportunities here and there that I just can't let them pass by or whatever. But I'll do that. And I've built up some REPLENS that we go over again. And then there's some good places I like to shop that have some pretty good discounts consistently. And I'll go to those places and I'll map those out. And we're located in central Wisconsin. So I can kind of map out. I've got these different routes that I'll do different days of the month. And so this week, I'll go to these 2 different zones I've created. And then next week, I'll go to these other zones I've created. And I just keep going through those and finding all kinds of stuff. And then more recently, we hired a VA. Well, and so they're finding finding replenishables for us.
Is that one of our proven?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Kyle, I can't remember Kyle's last name.
PRV, provenreplensva.com. Yeah. That's our program where we're training virtual assistants how to work for one seller at a time. And jump in there and get details. We'll stick a link in the show notes. But
and that started at the end of May.
Were you doing much? I want to hear how it's going. But you're doing mostly retail store shelves. It sounds like you're getting in the car a couple days a week, going around hitting your circuit, hitting your REPLENS, maybe a few discount items as well because you know your territory. And that's your primary model. How much of this is online up until you get this virtual assistant?
I don't like to be behind screens too long. I get kind of antsy, and so I've done some OA successfully, but I'm just not the kind of person who can sit there very long. I'll start to go stir crazy. So I just got to get out and go just get in the car and go. And that works for me better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoy
I love hearing the contrast in this community, because we have other people that say, I just cannot go into a store. I feel so awkward. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be there. I just want to get out of there. I want to be sitting behind a screen running my business. Right. It's just, there's so many ways to do this business.
Right, yeah.
We have some people who will literally never set foot in a store. They never buy retail near them at all. It's all online only. So the contrast.
Yeah, so you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you got this Proven REPLENS VA working for you. And you said they started when?
So very end of May 30th, I think, was the first list of things that he sent me.
Okay. So we had about 3 months.
Now today's the middle of July. So we've just been doing it, not even a full 2 months yet.
Yeah. Okay. About 2 months. Right. And how's that going? Are they finding some good product for you?
Oh yeah. He's doing great. He's finding all kinds of items. I think I've got nearly 200 ASINs that he sent me since then.
That's awesome.
And, so now my biggest problem is just trying to keep up with him. Because he's finding all this stuff. And so I've got to take it to the next level and create a new system to help take advantage of everything that he's sending to me.
Absolutely. Another VA to do some of the buying, or hire a local friend maybe to do some of the buying. And it sounds to me like you need a shopper too.
Right. Yeah. And I'm kind of experimenting with my daughter since she wanted to work for me this summer. I'm trying to, get her to do some of these, trying to send her out with a list and see how that goes and things like this. And eventually, of course, it'd be nice just to make it a turnkey style operation where I can just kind of sit back and tweak the little different facets of things that are going on.
Yep. You can get there doing the things that only you can do. And that list keeps shrinking as you create systems.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been great, because I like going out, but I don't like, it's good to have this VA because I'll take pictures of aisles for him. He does OA as well. He does online arbitrage as well. Yeah. But what I do is I take pictures of aisles and then I'll send those to him and have him go through it. I've done that and I can do it, but I'm so busy with other things. I don't have time to go through every aisle. And I just knew that I was passing up stuff on the shelves. And sure enough, I sent him pictures. He's like, oh, that's been in front of me every time I come here and I never grabbed it.
That's right. I mean, it is. I say all the time, if someone gave me 3 hours and said, go find as many REPLENS as you could, I'd go to stores. Maybe not the big recognized brand stores that everyone else can easily access anywhere in the country, but the regional stuff or the stuff that's owned by a family, and the kind of ethnic store, whatever. Take some pictures, do some research. There's REPLENS everywhere. So I love that you're taking pictures of store shelves. Now, I know when I take a picture of a store shelf, what all I try to include, when you take a picture of a shelf, what are you doing? Are you turning some barcodes so you can see them? Make sure you see how many ounces are in the can, that sort of thing. Are you getting some pretty detailed pics? Or you're just giving them some ideas on some brands?
I try to be as detailed as possible without spending too much time, facing the aisle, turning everything forward. So I try to make sure that they're high resolution pictures that he can zoom in and see the ounces and he can see the price. I haven't really done the UPCs because I figure he'll interact with the website of that particular store at the same time. So he'll look at those and then he'll go online to that store and kind of compare them and things.
Yeah. And how do you get your pictures? Because I'm assuming he's in the Philippines if he's one of our PRV virtual assistants. How do you get the pictures to him? Are you using a Google Drive, free Google account?
I just email them to him, but that's one thing I need. It's one of those, I'm not a very techie guy.
Yeah.
So I've just been emailing to him, but
you'll lose resolution.
There's got to be a better way. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll lose resolution that way. Have you noticed when he opens it, what you want to do is get a free Google. If you've got a Gmail account, you've got Google Drive.
Okay.
And just store the files there, upload them. And it's not complicated to do rather than emailing them to him, because now you got a nice full res picture that he can open and he's got the nice full res image that he's accessing.
There you go.
Yeah,
see, there's little things you learn all the time. And anybody, if I can, I stumble my way through it, other people can do it too.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you've got to be
on my iPhone, just taking pictures with my iPhone and emailing them.
Yeah. iPhone takes great pictures. And if you're getting, you can get 10 or 15 items in a frame and zoom in. If it looks good, zoomed in on your iPhone and you can read all the detail, just upload that to a Google Drive, shared Google Drive, and he can access it anytime and just look for the new pictures every day at his convenience. That's the way to do it. Well done, man. You've got a nice system going here for sure. Hey, quick interruption. We'll get back to the show in just a moment, but I want to make sure you know about the Proven Conference coming up August 12th through 14th, 2022 in Louisville, Kentucky. Join hundreds of your fellow business building warriors, the same people who listen to this podcast, the successful students you've heard interviewed, the coaches on our team. There's over 60 of them. We're all going to go, hundreds of us, to Louisville, Kentucky, August 12th through 14th. We want you there. Come hang out, be a part of this incredible community. We've done this several times in the past. It gets better every single time. It's unlike any other conference you've ever been to because the stage and all the breakout sessions are comprised of the great leaders and students from our own community. We don't bring in outside experts that you could go watch on YouTube anytime you want. No, we are putting on stage the people that you'd love to meet face to face. It's an event unlike any you've ever attended. It will change your life. August 12th through 14th, 2022 in Louisville, Kentucky. See theprovenconference.com for details. Theprovenconference.com. There's a link in the show notes as well. Okay, let's get back to the program. iPhone takes great pictures, and if you're getting you can get 10 or 15 items in a frame and zoom in. If it looks good, zoomed in on your iPhone, and you can read all the detail. Just upload that to a Google Drive, shared Google Drive, and he can access it anytime and just look for the new pictures every day at his convenience. That's the way to do it. Mm-hmm. Well done, man. You've got a nice system going here for sure. Well, what else can you tell us about your business system? Any other tidbits we're missing from your strategy? And just to be clear with folks, this is a lot of REPLENS training, which is the Proven Amazon course. We walk you right through the REPLENS training. If you're new to this podcast and you hear us talking about finding these products, we're not scanning barcodes, looking for discounts. We are talking about easily purchased full retail price products on store shelves or on websites that you can source as often as you want because they're selling for a lot more money on some listings on Amazon that you sell against. That's the model. And you hear it on dozens of recent episodes of this podcast. But what else are you doing, if anything, to find profitable inventory? Any other secrets to your strategies there?
No, I've kind of found places that work for me, and then I just go in over and over. And occasionally when adding that VA was my biggest strategy lately because some of my months were not as good as others. And that was because certain things I would buy weren't available or whatever, the discounts dried up or whatever. And so I got the VA to kind of help in those lower months to kind of bring that up.
Yeah. And you got a couple hundred new replen ASINs in 2 months. So easily paying for the investment, you would say at this point, it was a good investment for you to.
Right. And now he's all these replens or all these new ASINs he's sending me are paying for him. I didn't have those before, but now I've got these profitable items. So I just go and get them, and that pays for him. And then whatever else he sends me, brings in extra money and stuff. I guess my strategy now is not so much finding new items, it's trying to deal with the ones I have.
Yeah. And
so eventually I want to do more wholesale and more maybe do private label and things like that. But I'm just so busy with what I have now. And I agree with your idea that you need to nail one thing down before you go on to the next one, bolt one thing down and then go to the next one.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Multiple income streams doesn't mean running around like crazy. It's bolting down, putting a system in place. Like, some of the low hanging fruit for you, I think, is getting a good, reliable shopper that you're going to pay, and that's going to cut into your margin a little bit, but it's going to free up your time. And that's right. Yeah. That's a good exchange, just like you've already experienced with your virtual assistant. Anything a virtual assistant can do is typically a no-brainer. For example, if you had another VA that starts doing some of your buying for you, or maybe even this VA that you already have a relationship with, if they have some more hours available, not only are you going to be finding these products, but now that you've learned to recognize good ones, you can get online and buy them for me as well from certain stores, right? Online, and have them shipped to maybe a prep center instead of to your house. Are you using a prep center yet?
No, we haven't used a prep center. I've got the prep kids. So
yeah, you've got one built in. Yeah, it's the bedroom down the hall is your prep center, right? Yeah, that's where my workers stay.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I totally get it. And a lot of people run their business exactly that way. But I think you could very quickly get yourself into a situation where a lot of your online shopping, especially, is sent to a prep center and you don't ever see it. It's just turned into dollar bills without you ever touching it. So that's the low hanging fruit opportunities that you have, is get someone in place doing some of the shopping online, probably first, and then store to store as well, your daughter. That's going to help you start to scale up, and you'll find the less you work, the more money you make at this stage.
Really? Right? Yeah. Well, and that's those are the next strategies. Just getting so busy with things, starting to pass some of these things off to others. And I'm thankful that we've reached that level that we can do that.
Yeah. It's just a little chipping away, and there's always going to be new systems and processes that can be improved. The list of things that we could do today to improve our business is going to continue to grow faster than we can ever get to all of it. But you just try to identify those low hanging fruit, the wins, those big wins that take little effort.
Right.
And I think one of them is, now that you understand how to get a virtual assistant rocking, get another one in there plugged in some way to, to relieve some of the pressure. And then, I don't want to say prep centers are the only way to relieve the burden of prepping. A lot of times it's just a single mom across the street who's got some spare time in the evenings. Get the stuff out of your house, pay her a few bucks. You can now process a whole lot more.
Yeah, because like I was saying, I told you I'm just shopping 2 days a week, and I'm slowed down by prepping everything and stuff. So I really want to. Yeah, I think you're right. If I can get somebody to do that, then I can begin shopping more, and then just more.
Another way to think about it, Justin, is, when you're out there grabbing inventory, that's like the peak skill set. That's the hardest to train someone else how to do. Find that new profitable inventory. Or you can train others to do it, but that's the hard. You're out there gathering. You're worth, let's say, $300 an hour. That's what you're bringing to your business.
Right.
But when you're putting tape on boxes, you're doing a $12 an hour job. So that $12 an hour task is keeping you from a $300 per hour profit potential task. Right. So you want to hang on to those things that are generating the revenue and stay after those and train other people how to do those, and give up some of those $10, $12 an hour tasks. Just, it's not saying it's demeaning and beneath you to say put down the box tape. It's saying it doesn't make financial sense for you to be doing $10 an hour work. You can't grow your business. You could put 10 people to work doing that inexpensive work and really maximize out your system, right? So I think that's where you're headed, buddy, and it's just a matter of scaling from here. You're on a great track.
Yeah, and I'm no genius or anything at these things. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I just think maybe one quality I have is that I'm too dumb to give up, and I just keep going. So
that's a good quality to have when you got a workable system. There's a lot of little challenges and speed bumps to this, but as a guy who's seen a lot of business models, see a lot of things come and go. There's a reason we're pounding away on this business model. It just makes so much sense. If you're willing to do a little bit of the work that maybe you're not passionate about. I don't know anybody that wakes up passionate about several elements of this business. But if we're being honest, anything worth having is going to require you to do some stuff that you don't really want to do when it needs done. Right. So if you can just kind of get over that little hurdle and learn what it takes, this is a viable business model for anybody. So I appreciate you saying that, man. Well, what else do you want to talk about in your business? Any topics, any questions for me? You had some stuff in your bio that I remember was of some interest, but let's go. Where do you want to go next with the conversation?
Well, one thing that just came to mind when talking about if business is boring or not, I've been really having a lot of fun doing this business.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wake up every day and like I get excited. Like, all right, I get to go out. Today's my shopping day. I get to go out and run around and do stuff. And
that's great.
I get a meal that's paid for. I've got to pay for it, but I get so much profit that it pays for itself. And so I actually look forward to this. It's fun, and I think a lot of modern jobs and things have taken a lot of the fun out of working. And so one of the things that really blessed me starting this was that I can have a lot of fun doing it. And sometimes I have to slow down because I've got other things I've got to do. It's like, oh, I can't work right now. I got to do other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying and I've been doing this 20 years now. And there's a lot of times where, I like holidays and I like you know, the 3 days before Christmas and the 2 days after Christmas, like nothing's going to happen with business. And I enjoy the family time and such, but I found myself really missing the thrill of just serving customers and,
Yeah.
doing things that help the business move forward, knowing that I'm not only am I providing for my family, doing meaningful work that helps, meet the bills, but there's customers out there that are relying on me and they need the services that we're providing, the goods, the services, the courses, the content, the things that we do around here.
Yeah.
So I'm almost get a little anxious to get back at it, when I have to get away from it for too long.
Yeah.
I'm not a good vacation guy. 10 days, we're going to do nothing. I'm like, oh no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be checking in. I'm not a turn it all off kind of guy by any means.
Well, I used to, when I first got married, I used to like video games, and I stayed up all night when I first got married. My wife fell asleep next to me and she woke up at 6 a.m. and I was still playing this video game. And I was like, this is crazy that I was doing this. So I gave that up. But then I realized, I think guys like video games because they get to master their little universe and they get to build things and they get to think about it and create it and grow it.
That's a good observation. Yeah.
And, I was so thankful I gave up fake kingdom building or whatever and started building real things. And then you get to strategize about it. You get to, does this work? Does this strategy work? Oh, I've leveled up in my powers or whatever, and I can do more than I used to be able to do. And so it gets exciting.
Yeah. There's nothing more high resolution and immersive than real life. I mean, and we are built, to use a biblical truth that's undeniable, we're built to serve others. That's when we're at our peak performance, and that's peak fulfillment, is serving others. It's not hard to find people who you look at them and you're like, yeah, they've got everything that anybody could ever want. And they're kind of miserable because their world is all about them getting what they want. And I've known those people. They're just not happy people. They can pretend and fake, but it's a very lonely, isolated thing to make your life about you getting what you want when you want it on your own terms. That's why retirement can be like a death sentence, especially for guys. Like, I'm retired. I can do what I want, when I want, on my own terms forever. It's cool for about 3 weeks. And you're like, nobody needs me. I feel purposeless.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
So I love what you've said, like, this kingdom building concept of I'm working on something that's bigger than me, that other people rely on, and I'm serving others and providing for my family, and my kids are benefiting from it. It's so much better than anything you could do on a screen with a fake, battle game or whatever. Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Yeah, this one, when you get points, they're actually worth something. So it's a lot more fun.
You can. It's proof that you've served other humans well, as my friend Rabbi Daniel Lappin says. That's what those dollars are.
Yeah. And you can save the real princess in your life, your wife,
Dude, there's a book here somewhere. Did you read a book on this or something? The analogies are wonderful.
No, but I did hear some guy who was talking about guys saying guys like video games because they get to conquer worlds, they get to build themselves up in this world and stuff. And guys, I think we do like doing that kind of stuff, but it's not meant to be in a virtual world where we're pretending. We're supposed to go out and fight real battles. That's why I always like it when you say, we're business building warriors, because
absolutely
there is a sense there where there's some challenges coming up and there's difficulties, but you can overcome them. And you've got to kind of have a little bit of a warrior spirit.
You absolutely do. And the enemies you'll face will surprise you quite often. It's things like your own government taking half of what you're building. Like, all right, I can't change it. So I'm just going to have to figure out a way to work with half of what I've built here. And so, you got to have that warrior mentality. No shortage of things that you can find and use as excuses. And that's one of the things I'd like to think that this podcast does, is it destroys excuses. Like you just said earlier, hey man, if I can do this, anybody can. I'm not even all that tech savvy, right? So whatever that excuse is, I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too educated. I'm too overly educated. I have a PhD from Harvard. I can't do these things. Well, no, we've got people who have left doctors' careers and they were lawyers and they've gone into e-commerce because the flexibility, and you can build your own thing and operate on your own terms. It's hard to find a career choice that kind of beats the flexibility and the income potential of e-commerce, right? So this show destroys excuses, and I think you're destroying a few others with your analogies today. That's well done, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Well, what else comes to mind? What else? Anything else on your list? Is I think we could start to wrap this one up. Or if there's any other questions you want to dive into, or any other topics, I think we've served the community pretty well with this one today so far, though.
Well, yeah, I think you've hit it. I think you've hit the next things for people who are in the same position as me, is just to begin to give off some of those jobs to other people, so we can begin to focus on the things that we're good at and stuff. So.
Yeah. Outsourcing, the briefest way to say it, focus on the things that only you can do. Do only the things that only you can do, ultimately. Now, and I always have to be careful with that advice, because people think I'm saying day one you do that. No, you got to build a profitable system first. And then with those profits, the first person you hire is somebody to go find more profits. It's just what you've done. That makes the Proven REPLENS VA program a really good first hire. Not only is it someone you're only paying $4 an hour, who's thrilled to work, by the way, for that pay rate, because it spends like about $25 to $30 per hour in their local economy, but you're adding profitable streams to your business. You're not just offloading inconvenient tasks that you find irritating. You don't start there. Someone else can do the irritating stuff. No, someone else can help me find profitable inventory. That's how you scale, because you're not dipping into your overall revenue reserve to do so. You're adding to your revenue with those first few hires, right? That's the way.
That's the way I saw that too. Was like, this just makes sense, because you put in X amount of dollars and you get 2X amount coming back out, and that's just. I've always scratched my head. What are good investments? What's the next big thing? I just don't know what they are, but I know that if I put money into this business, it gets more out than I put in. And,
have you ever heard the advice? Again, I reference my friend, Rabbi Daniel Lappin, quite frequently, but I mean, he has consulted with very large, very wealthy individuals with big businesses and huge success, all the way down to people who are saying, hey, I kind of need to make a little more money. I'm struggling here. His content is better than any I've ever seen. But have you ever heard him address this situation where he says, talking to a business owner who says, hey, I've got this reserve of funds here that I've accumulated. My business is going well. My reserve is growing. What do I do with this reserve, this nest egg? Where do I put it? What do I do with it? Have you ever heard me?
I've heard him speak, but I don't remember him, that particular issue.
On that particular issue, he says the vast majority of the time, with very rare exceptions, I tell the people who ask me that question, what do I do? Where do I put my money? Is back into the system that built that reserve. That's the best place to put it. That's the most generous place to put it, because you'll be creating jobs, opportunities, serving more people. Right. It's helping your business continue to grow, because there's no such thing as a steady state for business, for health, relationships, business, right? There's no steady state. You can't hold steady. You got to be growing or you're dying. So you're fueling life back into the thing that you've already built. You're scaling up. And some people say, oh, I don't want to go on that leadership journey with my business. I just want a few extra dollars. What you're basically saying is, I want this to be dead within 2 or 3 years, because that's not how the real world works. You're going to have to stay creative, stay ahead of the competition, continue to grow, experiment, fuel, change, because at some point, everything we're doing is going to be systemized and easier. And if anybody can do it, everybody's going to do it. How are you going to stay ahead of that? So I think that's one of the services we provide here, Justin, is we help you stay 2, 3, 5, even 10 years ahead of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm always have my ear to the ground with you guys, listening to what's going on and everything. And just listen to your podcast. That's why I heard about the VA, and I was like, that's what I need. That's what I need in the business right now. And I could sit here and try to do it myself, I could do it, but it's going to take me longer. I could make more if somebody else is doing it. And it was, it was almost a no-brainer at that point.
Well, it's something I encourage everyone to do, and you're in a good position to do this. The math is actually pretty easy. You're approximately what your net profit is. You're selling about $30,000 a month, and your net margin's around 25% or so. So you take that number and you divide it by how many hours are you working right now per month to achieve that, right? And you got a number. That's your hourly net profit. So let's say that's $100, right? We do the math. It's $100. Are you doing any tasks right now that someone else could be getting paid something less than $100 an hour to do? Cutting your grass doesn't cost $100 an hour, right? Like all these little errands, these tasks, these things, it makes a lot of sense for you to become the guy who's worth $200 or $300 or $500 an hour by growing your business and paying others to specialize and get those other little tasks done. That's the path to financial independence and creating generational wealth and being able to buy a house all cash and as an investment and do those kind of things versus just I need an extra $1,000 a month to pay the bills mentality. Those opportunities just don't last. So you've got to be aiming big, right? And this is me encouraging you and everyone else and myself too. You got to constantly be thinking big. I want to make myself worth more money per working unit of time that I have.
Right.
And creating opportunities for others. And this allows you to do that.
And I'm so grateful. I had a couple anchors around my leg. I won't go into it too long because we're running out of time, I'm sure. But we had a mortgage in Japan. We had another house in Japan that we still owned, and we couldn't sell it when we were in Japan. So we were paying the mortgage on that. We needed a bunch of stuff done to our house here in the States. I needed a warehouse for all our stuff. And this Amazon business has provided for all those things. We were able to pay off our house in Japan. We were able to build like a little garage for the business, and we were able to remodel, finish our basement because it was unfinished and stuff. It's just, I'm so grateful for all the things that it's enabled us to do. It's just been huge. But you're right. You kind of got to keep it growing, and it pays for those things. It helps with those things.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to treat it like a real business.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. We've got a few more minutes. If you had any other questions, anything else that you wanted to go over, I do have another call, like I mentioned before we hit record today, coming up here shortly. But I've got a little more time. I can't remember if there's anything else on your list that I saw in your bio, or have we covered all the ground?
I can't remember. I'm going to think of it the moment I hang up. I'm sure. I'm sure there's tons of stuff I would love to talk with you about, but nothing comes to mind at the moment.
Well, I'm just thinking back over the bio. You'd mentioned the concept of kind of building an ark or an island of freedom.
Yeah.
Talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. That's been on my heart for a long time, long before I ever came into this community. But that was one of the things I appreciate about this community. And the things that you brought up is like, that really resonated with me, because I didn't think about this until I had kids, and you start seeing what's going on in the world and things. And you're just looking for ways like, okay, how can I raise a family in a society that's in moral decline and keep them from going down? And so you begin to gravitate to others who have those same desires. And I think one of the things to do that helps with that is creating a business that you can involve the family in. And that's just been that's been a vision of mine for a long time, and it's been a blessing that it's coming to pass. There's a psalm in Psalm 119. It says, deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. And so I was thinking, Lord, if you want me to keep your word, I'm going to need some bounty. And the Lord begins to give you bounty so that you can keep his word. He wants you to live a certain way, and he'll provide that. So it takes some diligence, you got to get up and do some things like you were saying, but it's one of the best investments where you're talking about investments. You put a little effort in with the Lord, and he returns it.
Yeah. The scripture that's popping in my head is seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
Right.
And all these things will be added to you.
Yeah.
You got to start out like, What are you heading towards? You heading towards you getting all the toys you want before you die?
Right.
God may or may not bless that. And actually, I know the guys that got all the toys, and they're not the happiest people I know.
No, yeah.
But you seek a purpose bigger, kingdom purpose, and God starts blessing it. And you use those blessings to do even more work. Now that is rewarding.
Yep.
And I'm reminded, I mean, you're almost verbatim describing with the way you just laid out the concept you were just describing. The content by referencing again my buddy Rabbi Daniel Lapin. His stuff's just so good. But he has a course. It's a mini. It's like a 4-hour, maybe 3 or 4 hour audio course called "The Gathering Storm." Have you heard of it?
I haven't heard. I've listened to some of his stuff, but I got to listen to more because I keep hearing his name pop up. Not just you, but some other people I've listened to. So
he's been the keynote speaker at our event a few times over the past.
I got to hear him when he came there, and I learned not to take notes.
Yes, don't take notes when you're listening to a good speaker. Pay attention. You can listen to the audio later.
I think I lost because I was taking notes.
The Gathering Storm is the thousands of years old, and that's what I love about Lapin is he doesn't claim to be the guy that came up with these concepts. These are thousands of year old concepts that the Hebrew people have understood. It's ingrained in their culture that so many other cultures just haven't had the benefit of recognizing. Even Christians use the same book. We miss a lot of that stuff. But the story from the Bible of Noah's Ark is a time of moral decline. That's the setting. And Noah is setting about taking actions with his family to help protect him from the inevitable destruction that's coming because of the moral decline that they find themselves in, right? That's the story.
Right.
Which is what you just described. Well, Lapin's content, The Gathering Storm, is the title of it. I highly encourage you to go grab it. It's like $19 or something, but it is how the family is to conduct itself based on the ancient Hebrew lessons from this. And it has to do with, yes, you have a home-based business of some kind. You have something that your kids can contribute to in some way that helps establish the family identity, helps accumulate resources for whatever might be coming next. It's ideally flexible enough that you can transport to another place if needed, right? It's an arc of sorts, right? So it just kind of goes into those lessons. It's a powerful thing that I've shared many times. I'm surprised you hadn't heard it, but you just kind of described that, right? I mean, but that is the story of Noah's Ark from a business, family, traditional Hebrew understanding. That's the lesson. That's kind of one of the many lessons kind of hidden in that story. It's a pretty cool resource. You should go check it out. Maybe I'll stick a link to it in the show notes, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting the title right. The Gathering Storm.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look at that.
Yeah. Let me know what you think of it.
Somehow God has always protected his people and made a way for them. So, and we're encouraged not to be fearful, but we've been given a spirit of love and of power and of a sound mind, not a spirit of fear. So
that's right.
So that's what I've thought. That's one thing I do this business. I remember, like, if I start to get fearful, I'm like, wait a minute. No, that's not from the Lord. That's from somewhere else. It's okay. You have a spirit of love, of power, and of a sound mind, so you can move forward.
That's good. Yeah. If you ever find yourself making decisions in fear, you need to get rid of the fear, tackle that first, and get it out, and then proceed. Right. That's a great tip, because there's several contagious things that we can fall into. And I think if this community provides anything of benefit, certainly on that list would be the optimism, the encouragement, the positivity, the examples of people who are doing it right. Those things are contagious. Success is contagious, but even more contagious are things like fear and doubt and that's the reason that they used to in battle situations, it wasn't uncommon at all. The two armies are going head to head and going at war, and someone would turn and run away from the front line, and it wasn't uncommon at all for their own soldiers to shoot them as they fled, not as a punishment for fleeing,
right?
But because cowardice is so contagious. Yeah, you're going to kill us all. If we don't kill this one guy, he's just killed all of us.
Right.
So the coward is rejected from the community with the death penalty, basically, in preservation of the rest of all the rest. I mean, that's how powerful these negative fear and cowardice and these other emotions can be. So you want to be surrounded with people of courage,
Right.
of accomplishment, of positivity and optimism and abundance mindset.
Right.
And that pays off. I mean, that translates to real dollars in your pocket to be around such people.
Right.
So I love those themes, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, buddy. Well, I think this has been a good episode. Just two guys kind of chatting through and talking business and life and family. And what's the mix on your kids, by the way? I didn't catch. I've got 4 boys and a young girl. What's my youngest?
We got 1 boy and 1 girl and 4 boys.
Yeah, that's what we got too.
The oldest. Yeah.
Your daughter's your oldest. Okay. Well, oldest, you had a second mom built in. The way it works with, right? The way it works when your daughter's your...
That's probably why we were able to have 4 boys, because we had a second mom, basically.
Well, we got 4 boys and then the youngest was a girl. And she kind of plays that mom role still, but mainly she plays the princess role of she gets what she wants on her terms. So, but she's a sweetheart.
Well, we were blessed. My daughter was she really helped with her brothers, and she had a little vision for her brothers to grow up to be men and stuff. So she's still around. She's married now, but it's sad that she's not here all the time. But
changes the dynamic. The whole house just got a little more dangerous, I'd imagine. There's only one mom instead of 2. Right?
Boys they don't understand why mom's getting upset because they're throwing hammers across the yard and
Yeah, exactly. Like I can dodge the hammer. We're 30 feet away from each other.
That's right.
That's boys. That's boys. Keep them alive till they're 18. That's my advice for boys. Right? That's your job, man.
That's right.
So, well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you today, Justin. This is a fun episode for me. I'm going to talk to the listeners for just a moment as we wrap this up. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, God bless you, buddy. It was tremendous. But for the listener out there who hung out with Justin and I today, thank you for giving us a very valuable gift. That's some of your time. We appreciate it. That's the most valuable thing you could have given us. And so we take that very seriously. We want a big return on investment for you for the time invested today. So if you want to be a part of our community, our free Facebook group, you can go to silentgym.com. As we're recording this, we're at about 70,000 members in there. Justin's one of them, and great families all over the world. Business building warriors, retired, single, young. We got some teenagers in there. It's a pretty good mix of people doing life and business in their own unique, creative ways. But what we have in common is we're supporting each other. We're here for each other. When you see a question you can answer, we answer it. It's just a place of positivity and encouragement. We'd love to have you there with us. But from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the team that creates these podcast episodes, thank you for joining us today. God bless you, Business Building Warrior. We'll have another really good episode for you again very soon. Hey, Justin, great job today, buddy. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for listening today. One last thing before we wrap up, a quick reminder. Now that this episode is over, get over to theprovenconference.com and get your tickets for the event coming up August 12th through 14th, 2022. Your fellow listeners to this show are going to be there. Successful students that you've heard interviewed on this podcast, they're going to be there. Over 60 coaches from our team, they're going to be there. This is an incredible event. You cannot afford to miss it. It's an incredible investment in the future success of not just your business, but those vital relationships that you need. We talk about all the time. This will propel your life and your business forward. You're going to benefit tremendously from this. Do not miss this opportunity. We've done it multiple times in the past. Over 98% of all attendees say, yes, I'm coming back. The event gets bigger and better every single time. Theprovenconference.com. There's a link in the show notes. We want you to be there. Do not miss this. We'll see you there. Talk to you next time.